Flying Training Wing Chief Master Sergeant Rita Felton, and her husband, Chief Master Sergeant Retired Dirk Felton. Additionally, we'd like to give a special Team Blaze welcome to all our base honorary wingmen present tonight. And we are also pleased to welcome all of their commanders and chiefs present. Finally, we would like to welcome all friends and family visiting here tonight. Class 1613 is fortunate to enjoy the support of the local community and business leaders during their time here in pilot training. Class 1613's pilot partners are Baptist Memorial Hospital, represented by Donna Grant, and Bob's Paint and Auto Body. And before we introduce the class, they have a short video to show you. Quiet in the back.
Sounds that you hear, the instructions that the dad gives, the sounds that you hear from the dad, laughter, mentorship, anger, sadness, the groans, the actions that Tina makes are literally what IPs and students experience every day in their pilot training career.
This is a great day. A really great day. Wow, look how big and empty the parking lot is, huh? What do you say you get behind the wheel?
What would I do behind the wheel?
Drive.
Is that legal?
Well, no, but my father let me drive when I was about your age. Call it a perk for running errands with your dad.
Let's take this kitty purr.
Go ahead, try a turn. Tina, why are you groaning? You're doing fine. Tina, relax. Easy. Okay. Tina, you're kind of headed toward the only other car in the lot. Tina, so just go ahead. Turn one way or the other. You're just swerving back and forth. Turn one way. Stick with it, Tina. Tina, for the love of God! The brakes, Tina, on the left ear about to hit that car! The brakes! Hit the brakes! Oh my God, it's bad.
I ruined the car.
You did. You really did.
Who are you?
I'm no one. I was raised to do one thing. I've got nothing to fight for. Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started. There are stories about what happened. It's true. All of it. The dark side. The Jedi. They're real. The Force is calling to you.
Take your roast like an adult. No whining, arguing, or quibbling. Crisp handshake and a firm salute. Celebrate with your class and loved ones. And most importantly, keep your military bearings. Let's all start with a moment of silence for Lieutenant Brunner, who was dumped twice while in UPT. Moment of silence. All right, that's enough of that. Brunner was dumped once by his girlfriend and the other by Lieutenant Risby. I'm not sure how the first breakup went, but if it's anything like the second, it probably involved a bus and subsequently throwing that individual under it. However, I do know how the second breakup went, and it kind of went like this. Lieutenant Brunner, please answer this hard question. Well, sir, I don't know the answer to that hard question, but I know somebody who does. My best friend in the whole wide world, Lieutenant Risby. And one thing we know about Lieutenant Risby, like Lieutenant Brunner, he certainly did not know the answer to that question. It was in that moment that Du Bois, as we came to know and love them, would cease to exist. So Lieutenant Brunner, in his loneliness, found the comfort of a familiar friend, Tinder. He would sweep the lucky ladies off their feet and treat them like the queens they are, by taking them to Buffalo Wild Wings for a 60-cent wing night, then bring the wings over to Lost Pizza for the weekly beer special. The ladies love a financially savvy man, don't they, Lieutenant Brunner? So, Lieutenant Brunner, in what assignment will you be scouring Tinder for some lucky ladies in next? You're pretty much the most vanilla dude in the class. You study, don't quibble like the rest of your class, and your flying, it's actually pretty good. So writing a roast for you wasn't exactly easy. However, how old are you? Your IPs would need to see some proper identification prior to your flights to ensure you weren't a cap cadet on an orientation sortie. And I heard you just got engaged. Did you and your fiance get your parents to sign the aid waiver for that? And I've also heard you guys have been dating forever. 8.5 years to be exact. Doing some quick math here, were you guys elementary school sweethearts? Regardless, congratulations on that. I'm not the first to congratulate you on that, but let me be the first to congratulate you on this.
Waste time with the masterpiece. But you moving so carefully, let's start living dangerously.
seems we picked the right order, from baby to elderly. In case you didn't hear me, baby to elderly. Can you hear me now? Morris, isn't it past your bedtime? You see, Morris is, he's old. I mean, he's really old. Like Roman numeral on your birth certificate type old. In fact, we actually had to give him a day off the schedule so he could go renew his birth certificate just prior to his check ride. Which also explains probably why he booked that check ride. Lieutenant Morris, in an attempt to avoid the most direct and fastest route on his check ride, he took the long way to get there like any other elderly person probably would. And you would think that these technological shortcomings of Lieutenant Morris would disqualify him from being a Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Pokemon Go, and Pinterest champion. Or as he self-proclaims to his bros when no IPs are listening, the Instaface, Pokesnap, Pinterest master. Not sure if that'll fit on a name tag, but I don't think you could see it even if you tried unless you had a 3-inch monocle to look through. If flying an airplane was as easy for Lieutenant Morris as catching all the Pokemon at Columbus Air Force Base, his next assignment would probably be straight to F-22 weapons school. Unfortunately for him, it's not. So Lieutenant Morris, what RPA cubicle will best lend itself to short notice restroom emergencies for your aging bladder next? Duty guys are all breathing a sigh of relief tonight. That Lieutenant Burgess didn't take anyone's dream assignment. His GK is exceptional, he flies well, all while raising his son William. There is only really one way to get him mad. Make him sandbag a sim with Lieutenant Brunner. Don't worry, Lieutenant Burgess. Your patience in explaining the intricacies of instrument procedures to Lieutenant Brunner will serve you well in your role as a father. Hopefully, your son will be a little more grateful than your classmate was. To this day, the thought of sandbagging a sim with Lieutenant Brunner can give Lieutenant Burgess a severe case of PTSD. In which aircraft will Lieutenant Burgess be bailing out his classmates in next? What is there to say about Lieutenant Sawasaka? He comes to this country, flies better than his classmates, gets more girls than Risby, breathes better than Durbin, and he speaks better English than Brunner. But there's more than meets the eye with Lieutenant Sawasaka. He's lived in America for 10 years. So he's just as American as the next guy. Rio, why didn't you just let everybody think that you've lived in Japan for your entire life and wow everyone with your incredible understanding of our obnoxious slang and our disrespectful culture? You could have played the language card when you didn't know a question.
Strong air balls. Strong air balls.
But it's a little too late for that. So, in what aircraft will Lieutenant Sawasaka be using American slang on the radios in next? Lieutenant Agawa, the other day I found out why your grades were so bad. It's because you're always at the gym. Well, I guess you're not actually at the gym, but your Pokemon are. If anyone in the audience thought they were pros at Pokemon Go, meet Cameron Agawa, or better known by his username, C. Agawa. His female character pictured over here will wreck your pathetic Pokemon with his level 1474 Venusaur that he spent countless hours leveling up. Hours that he could have been studying. But what's the point when you're already at the bottom? You can't get any lower. Alright. Igawa wasn't that bad. But he actually kind of found his hands in the T1, just like he found his voice. Generally, it's kind of nice when a classmate breaks out of their shell, but not in Igawa's case. Igawa spent the first 6 months of the program saying less than 10 words a day. And as soon as he got out of the 37th, you cannot get this guy to shut up. So, Lieutenant Agawa, in what aircraft will you be talking your crew's ear off about Pokemon Go in next? If the whole pilot thing doesn't end up working out for you, I think there might be an opening as a backup dancer for the Backstreet Boys. Just make sure you have Lieutenant Oswald buy you a new pair of shoes before your audience. I'll get to that later. The only thing you like more than tearing it up on the dance floor is discussing the importance of the B-52 in the Vietnam War with the sim instructors. After all, you are the only one in the class old enough to remember the buff over the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Too bad Pokemon Go didn't come out until this year. You would have been slinging Pokeballs through layers of napalm and Agent Orange just to catch that elusive Charizard. So, Lieutenant Keeper, in which aircraft will you be reminiscing of the glory days in next? me present to you the only commercially rated pilot in 1613. I would have thought the FAA would have taught you better, but it turns out he believes the term required actually just means if you dang well feel like it. See, I'm not sure if you've had your passengers or flight attendants carry your pups to the jet flying commercial, but I probably think it's bad form to expect the squadron commander of all people, who by the way is also your check pilot, to carry the required pups for you. See, the only thing Lieutenant Poulsen is worse at than getting out the door with a set of required pups is actually getting out of bed in the morning at all. Formal briefs, another yet adjective required type event, is optional based on his loose definition of the word. He decides to randomly show up for 3 of 5 briefs. I guess that average wouldn't be so bad if he was batting for the New York Yankees. But you know, I know you think your skills are comparable to, Chuck Yeager or Sully Sullivan, but that really doesn't give you the right to arrive at our briefs 5 minutes after they actually end. You think the IPs didn't notice? It turns out we just don't care. I guess that speaks to how much we actually value your presence. So, Lieutenant Poulsen, what 4-engine Boeing 707 type big radar spinning crew-oriented aircraft will you be making others take your pups out to next? Lieutenant Atsu. She speaks perfect English, but you never know it during stand-up. It must be convenient to be able to say, I don't understand, anytime you don't know the question. That's the oldest trick in the book, though. It's almost as old as tactical demything. Ironically, even though Lieutenant Atsu is the only girl in 1613, she can easily outdrink everyone in the class, earning her the call sign Tank. She's the only person whose English gets better the more she drinks. So I would imagine she probably understands this roast just fine. So, in one aircraft will Lieutenant Atsu be saying, I don't understand in next. I'm a real big
T1 country, that's sad.
We get it. You're prior enlisted. But you know you can't give yourself a call sign, Daddy, because you have a cool morale patch about being a maintainer. Speaking of being a sweaty, I expected you wouldn't have a problem being in the heat, except for yesterday while he was complaining about the T1 air conditioner on the low level, to which I had to remind him how the poor people are living in the T38 with no AC. I'm gonna regret that line later. But I digress. My point is, Ray, you cared more about fixing the T1 instead of flying it. Pop fuel system circuit breaker, just pop it back in. Stabilizer rib cracking, stick some chewing gum on it. You couldn't seem to forget the crew chief gig and adopt the pilot one. We do not want Daffy to fix it. In which aircraft will Lieutenant Ray be acting as the pilot and flying crew chief in next? Former college athlete in the class. He was a runner. You would think that would translate to coordination, but you would be terribly, terribly, terribly wrong. He has found a way to max perform the T-38 Silvis, which has been less than fun for his flight commander and scheduler. 88 ride, check. 89 ride, check. Regression, check. Progression, pending. His general systems and aircraft knowledge are well above average, but that minute he picks up his helmet bag, everything becomes well below average. Except, however, his use of unnecessary inter-cockpit comm, which basically doesn't stop until we turn off the intercom. Heck, he is probably still rambling on after that. The IPs have to strategically listen to the diatribe of words in order to hear him say things required like seats hot, pin stowed, and gear clear. It is basically diarrhea of the mouth. He reminds us of everything he's thinking to include, sir, I'm going to aggressively clear for traffic. Yeah, sounds good, Chief. Sir, it looks cloudy today with a chance of showers. Got it, man. Sir, I can see my house from here. Copy. I have the aircraft, and you're lined up on the wrong runway. I think it's fair to say that you would never want to play Scrabble with this guy because he just never runs out of words. So, Lieutenant Chef, what aircraft Silvis are you going to be max performing next? So this guy pooped in the T1. He pooped in it. Big old poop. One of the more
He's like that.
I gotta get through this. One of the more important things we teach T1 students is something called Crew Resource Management, or CRM. Basically how to work together as a crew. If you're familiar with the size of the T1 cabin, pooping in it is terrible CRM. To make matters worse, we don't have toilet paper on board. So what did you use? A sock? Maybe some old Notams from a month ago? Your flight gloves? No. You used a laminated low-level chart. Lieutenant Hoffman is a frequenter of a local downtown theater where he loves to sing, if you call it that, karaoke, and wow the ladies with his war stories. So there I was with my trusty crew, 500 feet over the trees, cooking it at 275 miles per hour, burning Jet A like it's my job, which it is, by the way. About to drop some cargo on the locals of Beekman, Arkansas, simulated, when duty called. Without delay, I jump out of my seat, give my co-pilot the aircraft, run to the back, do my business, and make it back just in time to see the smiles on the locals' faces, simulated. In one aircraft will Lieutenant Hoffman be stinking up the cabin in next. Turbulence, noun, meaning violent or unsteady movement of the T1 whenever turbine is flying. So bad we coined a phrase after him, or a term after him. Lieutenant Turbine, your flying was similar to your briefing skills. Bad. Biggest person in the class, 6'3", 225 pounds, talks like a mouse. Half of what you briefed I just assumed was correct because I couldn't hear it. Multiple IPs on multiple occasions would tell you to sound off, speak up, or use your outside voice to no avail. Even Atsu, the smallest person in the class, thought you talked quietly. How do you think you're going to command a crew of the C-17 you put number 1 and 2 on your dream sheet? But on the lighter note, props for snagging yourself a quality gal in the Golden Triangle area. That's a bigger feat than getting your assignment. So, Lieutenant Durbin, in what aircraft will your crew be struggling to hear you in next? You actually have to be really careful about roasting Lieutenant Johnson, I hear. He's by far the most sensitive guy in the 50th and probably the entire wing. Actually, if this roast gets too intense, I fear he may have to go to the other room. His fear of intensity on the ground translates somehow to an overcompensation of intensity in the jet. His rejoins in formation consistently push the limits of the aircraft, the nerves of the IP, and not to mention the limits of the airspace. Usually when we attempt to rejoin on our wingman, we don't keep climbing it to complete it on a 737 well outside of our airspace. 100% true. Even when you're flying all by your lonesome, alone and unafraid, you feel you have to prove your aggressive flying nature by exceeding all known structural limits of the B-38. Maintenance was not impressed by your skills. And neither were we. Thankfully, 5th generation fighters have systems in place to prevent this from happening. Unfortunately, it's hard to get a 5th generation fighter, or any fighter for that matter, when you hook 7 rides in the program. So, Lieutenant Johnson, in what aircraft will you be proving to yourself that you actually are aggressive in next? Hopefully it's Remember when your essay was so far gone that your IP literally counted down the seconds until you hooked the ride? Then, following the countdown, you were so lost that you tried to turn 30 miles prior to the turn point. It was so bad. You were 2 seconds from beginning to climb, conserve, and confess. Hopefully your son, Tom Jr., won't hear these horror stories from the T1, and instead he will hear about the time his dad saved Lieutenant Ray from that persistent woman from the bar in Little Rock. In which aircraft will Lieutenant Griffin be spatially disoriented and next? the envelope. Never in the history of pilot training has a student wrongfully told himself more frequently, I got this. No, Lieutenant Ricci, you do not got this. You sure you don't need to go to the bathroom before we leave the casino, buddy? Yeah, I got this. You sure you don't want to request a deviation around that thunderstorm? Nah, I got this. I don't think you should argue with that bouncer. Yeah, I got this. Ricci, you're 400 feet high over the threshold on this ELP. Want to go around? Nah, I got this. Ricci, you want to go to the bar with the boys tonight? Yeah. Becca said she wants me to spend the weekend with her. So nah, I don't got this. And what aircraft will Ricci be disregarding ORM in next? Lieutenant Carey's had 13 full months of UPT to decide on an airplane to actually commit to. That actually hasn't happened yet. But should we really be surprised from a man who's 26 years old with a 7-year relationship with his girlfriend and can't even find it in himself to commit to that? I'm certainly not. Your lack of commitment has no bounds. Actually, the only ride you hooked in the program was because you couldn't even commit, big surprise, to the landing itself. The only thing that actually is required to pass this program. Seriously though, only hooking one ride is pretty impressive. Almost as impressive as in the 100+ hours you spent spinning around in the Bernie chair, making yourself dizzier than a dog with 2 tails. You're a great inspiration to the next generation of crappy fighter pilots everywhere. Since we seem to be handing those out like candy these days. If only there was some way you could get your story to them, possibly even by showing by example what it takes. You did put fate number 2 and number 4 on your dream sheet, right? All that work making yourself dizzy around here, you just want to do it again for another 3 years, while you simultaneously put off all your major life decisions, not proposing to your girlfriend, and generally refusing to commit to anything more binding than plans to go to the Princess on Friday night. So, Lieutenant Gary, what airplane has the Air Force offered to you that you will most likely refuse to commit yourself to next? Lieutenant Easter, throughout the rest of your career, if you have to ask yourself who the stinking airman is, you are the stinking airman. Watch that flight suit already. Is that the same flight suit you barked in while keying the mic for all of Sunfish to hear? Alright, you guys know Pigpen from Charlie Brown, right? You guys know that cloud of dirt that's always following him around? That's Lieutenant Easter. But in Lieutenant Easter's case, the cloud has a little different composition. It consists of 50% stank, 25% shame from unsats, and 25% tears from Lieutenant Otsu denying his advances. There'll be plenty of girls all over the world you can bother for the next 10 years. So, in what aircraft will Lieutenant Easter be disregarding his personal hygiene in next?
Do you recall?
The million-dollar question posed by many a student in 1613. I think Lieutenant Easter hit the nail on the head when he said, Oswald only comes in when he has something to personally gain from it. As the SRO. That being said, glad to see you could make it to drop night, Lieutenant Oswald. You certainly look well rested after your classmates got slaughtered by the nav check worse than pigs at a bacon factory. At least you did well, right? Was it the thought of leaving your classmates out to dry that made you so queasy that you threw up on Lieutenant Kiefer's shoes in that bar in Tuscaloosa? Or was it just one too many Strong Island iced teas? In which aircraft will Lieutenant Oswald be letting his people eat cake in next?
Oh, he broke his glass, that's why.
He's mean mugging you, 37. Mean mugging you. That's creepy. The only time in young Ali Hassan Rizvi's life he has been more confused than a T6 stand-up session is finding out he was the star of his own personal episode of the show Catfish. It turns out the sexy investment banker from New York happened to be some dude that lives in his parents' basement. That's alright though. Because Risby rolls with the punches. Like his spring break trip in Panama City. He could not help falling in love faster than his check ride scores plummeted. You would think a year on casual at the academy would have improved Riz's officership. Just like you'd think a year at pilot training would have made him a better pilot. I guess his bachelor's degree in tennis from the zoo didn't include a math class. Because dividing any number by 2 during stand-up and counting the pages on his -1 appears to be above his 1LT pay grade. In what aircraft will Lieutenant Risby be trying to stay a first lieutenant in forever? Despite your multiple car wrecks, tactical denips, and almost washing back for a second time, we are finally going to find out what you will be flying in. So let's just skip all this roasting stuff and get right on to your drop, shall we? No, we're not going to do that. Alright, there's no way these dudes here and gal are going to let you off that easy. It's not going to happen. So how about we all do a toast for your fearless class leader? You guys want to toast? Oh, wait a minute. Why is your mug different than everybody else's? Why is it? Maybe because you purchased yourself and only yourself a class 1612 mug. This is 1613, right? Oh, 1613? And left the rest of your class inherently thirsty. So the rest of the class just bought their mugs on their own and just left you in their dust. So I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and assume you actually thought you were buying the entire class mug, since you actually believe you are indeed more than one person. For example, in a recent radio call, you insisted on referring to yourself as we, and tried to convince us all that there were actually 2 people in your aircraft, when indeed you were all by yourself. Here's the radio transmission kind of do. Confirm you are solo. Hey, Firm, we are solo. Ops copies. You and your imaginary friend are now grounded. So, Lieutenant Lindenberg, let's find out where you, yourself, and your imaginary friend will be sitting in a single-engine, limited G, PCL-driven aircraft. Please 1613 for a drink in the club bar, followed by the after party at the office on 45.